Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. Now, last video my microphone was really playing up and I'm really hoping it's not going to happen this time, but you might notice I'm trying to speak a bit more softly so that I do not blow out my microphone. I think it's just got a little bit iffy, getting a bit old, so might have to replace it soon, but hopefully this works out. But we're back to our normal sit down videos, which I feel like I haven't done one of these in a while. I feel like my last 3 or maybe even 4 videos have been like me on the go talking about random stuff, showing you like my meals and things like that. But today we're taking it back to basics. I'm sitting down to tell you all about how to survive 3rd year, because let me tell you, it's definitely easier said than done. Saying that, I think I have a hair in my eye. Great start to the video, but yes, I'm going to be talking all about how to survive 3rd year, just some tips that I've learned along the way, and kind of like an action plan, I guess, to get you through like 3rd year with limited mental breakdowns or like emotional breakdowns, limited tears, and just hopefully the biggest amount of success you can get. So I have always, as per usual, got a list on my phone of things, and I'm just going to run through them and hopefully share some advice and give you some tips. And if you have any questions along the way, please leave them down below or go ahead and DM me on Instagram, because I'd love to answer your questions. So my first tip would be to set realistic expectations. Now obviously I think it's great to have a huge goal and have aspirations and like dream of these achievements that you want to get, and I think it's really good to like push yourself and challenge yourself and all of those things, but at the same time university is very stressful, so you kind of want to make your expectations a little bit more manageable and just a little bit more realistic, just so that you're not super disappointed, you think they're achievable, and that you have something that you can really like look towards and focus on throughout your year. So in saying that, my expectation for 3rd year was to go to as many lectures as I could and to get a first. That was kind of like my main goal and my main expectation. I think if I was honest with myself, I would have been okay with getting a 2-1, so maybe that could have been an next expectation, I guess, in the sense like at least get a 2-1 is probably how I would phrase it. But just kind of figure out what you want out of it, what your expectations are, what your work-life balance is going to be, like all of the different parts of university life that comes with 3rd year. Just figure out what your expectations for that are, so that you know like the direction you want to head in and you know what you're getting yourself into. Once you have those expectations, I think it's really important to write out your goals, and I do think it makes a big difference between like having a list of goals in your head which are just kind of like a bit vague and things, and then actually writing them out, because I find like it really just gives you a sense of purpose and direction, in the sense like you can physically see it, you've got a list, you can pin it up if you want to, you can keep it in a journal if you want to, and make those goals like really achievable, in the sense like they have steps to them of how you're going to get there. So for me, say my goal was to go to as many lectures as I could, so that would mean I need to set an alarms, that would mean I would need to write out my timetable, that would mean that I don't plan any appointments or anything during my lecture times. Another goal of mine was obviously to get a first, so I knew that that meant a lot of hours in the library, a lot of studying, a lot of like getting my head around when my deadlines were, making a study plan and all of those things. So I think it's really important to write out those goals, especially if you kind of want to start with the right foot forward in 3rd year. Like get ready, tackle the year, you want to know what you're aiming for and what you're hoping to achieve throughout that year, and the ways you're going to go about that. So my next tip I did very quickly mention, but it's to make a study plan. Now I'm more than happy to do like a whole video on this about how I stuck to my study plan and how I made it work for me, and like all of the tips and tricks I have for making a study plan. But I do think it's really important to make one, especially if you've got a hobby going on like YouTube, especially if you've got a job going on at the same time. It's really important that you schedule in that time of I'm going to be revising here, here and here, where I'm going to be revising, what I'm going to be revising, and when I'm going to start that revision, like how far from your university deadline are you going to start revising from, or is it going to be a thing you do every week all the time, or are you going to take time out during Christmas break and things. It's really important, I think, especially for someone like me who likes to be quite organised, to see that laid out. You can colour code it, all of those different things, and it just really helps you feel like you have a plan of action, and you can refer back to it if people are asking you like to go on holiday and things. You can kind of like rejig your study plan. Obviously it can be flexible and things depending on how comfortable you are with that and how confident you're feeling in your studies. So just something to bear in mind, but something I think that really helps, and I know the majority of people have them going into 3rd year, and how you want to do that is completely up to you, whether it's like on your Google Calendar, whether it's written down on like a big A3 sheet or A2 sheet, whether it's just in a journal, whatever, virtual or in real life, like paper form, either works, and either is really handy to have in 3rd year. It just makes all of your courses seem a bit more manageable, because you can see it all laid out, and it's not like this overwhelming dread of like, oh my gosh, I've got so much stuff to do and I have no idea when I'm going to do it. So in that same sense, I think the one thing that kept me sane throughout third year was working out a work, study, life balance. Now people always say like work-life balance, fine, but you have this whole other segment in university which is studying, which is obviously going to take up a big portion of your time, especially if you're doing like quite an intense course. I did events management, so I only had 8 hours of lecture, maybe even 7 hours of lecture a week during my final year, which meant I had a lot of other time which I could work, study and live my life, which is very important, especially if you want to stay healthy and like physically and mentally, and you want to see your friends and everything like that. You want to stay social and have those fun parts of university during your third year as well. It is really important to work that out. So for me that meant like between the hours of like 9 and 5 I would be doing uni work, and that obviously is not that much, and very lucky that I could do that because I had so little contact hours, I guess. I had so much time off where I could just study and focus on the things that I really needed to do, and that also meant I could keep evenings and weekends free, which was a huge blessing, because not only did that mean I could work during the evenings because I worked at a bar, so I could pick and choose when I wanted to work, and usually they would be later shifts until like 2-3 a.m. But it also meant I could keep my weekends free and I could hang out with my boyfriend because he's currently in a proper like 9-to-5 real life job, so he had his weekends off too, so we could hang out on the weekends together. And it also meant I could go home, like back to Bournemouth, I could go see my friends, I could have sleepovers and all these good things all over the weekend. I could go out with my girlfriends, hit the town, all of those lovely things that you want to do at university. And I think that is a really big part of just being able to take a step back and have like a bit of time for yourself, a bit of self-care moment, and just breathe and take life for what it is. Enjoy those parts of life which you don't get to have a lot of at university, but you definitely cherish. My next tip is crucial, and I don't think enough people do this, but it's to ask for help. If you are struggling, if you are watching this and you're like 3 months into third year and you're thinking I'm not going to make it until June or July or whenever your exams are, like there's no way, I'm burning out, I have nothing left to give, ask for help. Now whether that's asking your mum, asking a friend, asking a colleague, or whether that's your university has like an anonymous like write-in thing with counsellors, because I know the University of Greenwich did, so you could just write in anonymously and they would give you advice and tips for how to cope with it, or whether that's you ask your tutor or email your lecturer. Whatever it is, I would definitely say ask for help. University is tough. Everyone knows it. Everyone in your course is going through the same thing. People might be experiencing it at different levels, but that's not to say that some people are hiding it behind closed doors, or people are like struggling underneath the surface. A lot of people are going through it. You're not alone, and I think that's really important to note, because it can feel very intimidating going into third year because there's a lot relying on you. I mean, it's like 80% of your final grade is from third year, so that's a lot relying on 1 year. Like, we get that, and I feel like it does take a lot of confidence to go up to someone and say, hey, I'm really struggling and I need your help. But honestly, it will be so worthwhile, and no one's gonna like slam a door in your face for saying that. I think that's something important to understand, is everyone at university is there to help you. They want you to do well. I mean, it looks great for them if you do well, so obviously they're going to want you to do well, but also they probably just care about you as an individual and want you to be okay and enjoy university, because that's what it's there for. So definitely reach out, ask for help, no matter who it is. Put some feelers out there. Just say like, I could really use some help with this, whether it's something really small and you just need an extension on a deadline or something, or whether you just need a little bit of helping hand finding some resources, or whether that's you're really struggling considering dropping out and really need some like heavy advice. Definitely reach out, make it known, and get some help. My next tip is to always read essay feedback. Now this is so important, especially because third year is different from all the other years, because there is so much relying on it. I feel like they expect more from you as well, so the grading becomes harder than second year. So there's a lot of like little hints and tips they put in your feedback. If you're doing really well and they just say like, yeah, carry on what you're doing, great, but usually there will be like 1 or 2 lines in there where it's like, or maybe focus on your grammar, or maybe like expand on your resources or whatever. Definitely check it out, because that will just help you moving forward with all your other essays and just help you get those higher grades, which obviously everyone wants during uni. But I do find like quite a lot of the time people just don't want to look at their grades, which I completely get. I was one of those people to start with. Like, the lesser I knew the better. Like, I don't really like people telling me I've done stuff wrong. I'm one of those people, I like to be a perfectionist, so if someone's like, that's not right, it like hurts my soul. But I just had to get over myself, you know, they're trying to help me at the end of the day. So I just had to look at that feedback, make notes about what I can improve on, and if I didn't understand anything I would just ask my lecturer like, what did you mean by this, or like, how could I implement this like more strongly or whatever. I would just ask the lecturer and they're more than happy to expand on it, obviously because they want you to do well, which is like the occurring theme here. But it really helps, especially with future deadlines, assessments, essays and all of that good stuff. My next tip for surviving third year, and a very important one, is to find the shortcuts. Now I know not everyone is going to agree with this, but for me, getting my grades and getting my essays and things, it was kind of like a means to an end. It wasn't like, oh my god, I love reading and I love doing all this studying and I love spending hours upon hours in the library. I was like, get me in the library, get me out the library with my work done, please God help me. I was like in there to get it done quickly, and if I could take any shortcuts, I was gonna. So whether that meant installing Grammarly, which not sponsored but I did, and I just used the free version and it was so helpful, so definitely recommend that. Meant that I didn't have to send it to my mum to proof or my boyfriend or anything, and I didn't have to read through it like 5,000 times to see if I'd made any mistakes. So definitely download like some kind of helping software, whether that's even like the ones that make your reference list for you or your bibliography. Definitely do those. If you can find any ways for your researching to make shortcuts, so like using Google Scholar and using certain phrases and then saving those somewhere so that you can refer back to them without having to research it over and over again to find the same article, definitely do that. Just all the things, little things that are going to help you out, get you there faster. Definitely find those, make a note, share them with your friends. Like those people who find some kind of like groundbreaking thing or like little shortcut that helped them out so much and keep it to themselves, I'm like, why? We're all in this together, like we're all trying to get good grades. Me getting less of a grade than you is not going to help you. Do you know what I mean? So I'm more than happy to share any tips and tricks I learned along the way, and I think it's really fun to share that with your friends because they might have learned something as well which they can share back with you, and you just become more like a team, like going through it together. You're in the trenches together getting it done, so definitely share those with your friends. But yeah, any shortcuts really help and just make your life a hell of a lot easier. My last tip to survive third year would just be to reward yourself. Now I'm not saying like hand in an essay and go on a 3-week vacation, because that's not really realistic, especially on a student budget. What I am saying is, if you hand in an essay, go get a pint with your mate at the pub. If you've done 6 hours of studying in the library, go call your mum and go on a walk. Like little things where you can just take a break from all of the noise outside and do something just for you. Even if it's just like, oh, I submitted an essay, or like I submitted a presentation, so I'm going to take an hour-long bath. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It's just something that makes you feel good and makes you happy and makes you calm, and you can block out all of the stuff going on and all of the extra studying you have to do. Forget about it, think about it tomorrow, and for that moment reward yourself. For me, it would even be as small as like if I had studied for an hour, I would eat a sweet or something. Do you know what I mean? Just little things. Or usually it would be a cup of tea, to be fair. If I studied for an hour, I'd go reward myself by making a cup of tea. But something just really small that makes you feel good and is a little spark of joy in your day. It's really important for you to like break up that studying and all the revision and everything that comes with university, and just take moments for yourself, and especially to like be like, you know what, I did really well, I should reward myself, because people can get in a bit of a funk, be on the grind, go, and not take a moment to think about how far they've come and what they've achieved and how well they're doing, which I think is really important. And even if it is just you giving yourself a pat on the back, why not? But that was something that definitely helped me throughout third year, made things seem a little bit more manageable, and definitely made me feel like a sense of achievement, I guess, along the way for all of the small things I had done as well as the big things. But yeah, they are all my tips for surviving third year. I really hope you like this video, and I hope it helps some of you out there currently going through third year. I know the struggle, but we are all in it together, so if you have any questions or any concerns, please leave them in the comments below, or go over and DM me on Instagram, because I'd be more than happy to help. But if you have liked this video, please hit thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down below, because I'm currently posting 3 videos a week. So hopefully I'll see you very soon. Bye!